to do that with your life? What if you could trace your life? In other words, there's a way that you're to live perfectly, and you could trace that. You didn't have to know all these things. All you had to do was trace that. Well, in the ancient Greek world, a student would learn how to write, and sometimes scribes would use this, by using a wax tablet and a stylus, kind of like a pen. And a word would be written. The teacher would write the word in the wax, and the student would simply trace what the teacher did. And from that, the student would write the word. And the model word that the student traced was called the hupogrammos. A hupogrammos. It could also sometimes mean a word that was on top of the page that they copied from. So we still use that in teaching today. But the hupogrammos, sometimes it could be used by scribes to copy text. It's a very special word. Hupo, you use this in a hypodermic needle, something that goes under the skin. Hypo means under. Hupo means under, and grammos means writing, like grammar. So hupogrammos means the underwriting, the writing beneath that you would trace. Just like you put a tracing paper on something, what's underneath would be like the hupogrammos. Now, here's the thing, something so cool. In Peter, 1 Peter 2, verse 21. For you have been called for this purpose, since Messiah also suffered for you, leaving you an example for you to follow in his steps. Now, the Greek doesn't say that, of course. What the Greek says is, I'll just tell you what one word is here. You've been called for this purpose, since Messiah suffered for you, leaving you an example. It says in Greek, leaving you a hupogrammos, leaving you an underwriting. It's saying something amazing. It's saying that in the same way he's using the word that's used of the scribes or the students to learn how to write. It's saying Messiah, what he did on earth, his life, is a hupogrammos. It is something that you are to trace. It's an amazing thing. It's the master writing. It's the underwriting of your life. It means that just as a scribe all you had to do was just trace the lines, and you were as if you had known a lot more than you knew, because you were tracing the lines of a master. It's saying that Messiah has done this for us, and for your life, that you can trace your life by his life, and then you get something happens to your life as you do that. Now, it means underwriting. So the thing is that you have in the Gospels Messiah speaking and giving teachings. But what it's saying is there's another teaching as well. The teaching is what he tells us. That's a teaching. But the teachings are also, there's a whole nother realm of teachings, and that's not what necessarily he said, but it's what he did is a teaching as well. A whole nother realm to discover in the Bible is not only what he said, but how he said it, what he did, everything in his life is a hupogrammos, is a teaching. There's, in a sense, a gospel within the gospel, a teaching within the teaching, that if you discover, it's like a whole nother set of teachings that may not be outright, but it's there. It's the under teachings, and you can discover things that have never been discovered before. And because, you cannot separate what Messiah said from what he was. Our faith is not simply what he said and what he taught, which that's certainly part of our faith. But our faith is him itself. It's him. So everything he did is a teaching. Everything he said is a teaching. Think about it. The disciples did not take a correspondence course. They did not take a course online. They were not at home in their homes in Galilee typing on the computer saying, okay, here's the next course as a disciple. Nothing wrong with online courses, but there's something to that. All the disciples were with him. The course was not just what he said. He could have written it down and given it to them. The course was being with him and seeing what he did every day. Everything he did, well, his rising, his going down, his speaking, his being silent, all that was a teaching. Everything he did, when he was in a crowd, that was a teaching. When he was alone with the Lord, that was a teaching. When he made the bread multiply, it was a teaching. When he stayed awake in the garden, it was a teaching. When he was in the boat, it was a teaching. When he spoke or when he was silent. So there are countless unspoken teachings, unheard teachings in the gospel that opens up a whole other realm. If you were in grade school and you had art class and you could not draw anything, everything you did was a mess, and then someone gives you a tracing paper, all of a sudden you have like a masterpiece of a drawing. And that's the same way with our lives and God. We try to do our thing, but what it's saying here is you've got a tracing, which if you simply follow the tracing of Messiah, your life will change into the image of Messiah. This opens up a whole other realm to discover treasures in the Bible, where you can produce a masterpiece in your life if you learn how to use this to trace Messiah. Sometimes you could look in a museum and see this incredible thing, and what it's saying is that all these artists knew how to do it. You don't have to know it. You don't have to know everything Messiah knows. You don't have to have all that he had. You've got his spirit in you, and you simply follow the tracing of him. His is the master life of every life. So without any skills, without it, all you need to do is follow those footsteps. Messiah's life is not just the hupogrammos of life, he's the hupogrammos of your particular life. Whatever you need to do, it's in his life. That's why he is who he is. That's why he could die for you. That's why he could rise for you. It's not just general, it's specific. He is the underwriting of your specific life. You'll find your life by following his life.